Thank you, and thanks for having me. It was fantastic to see the Havas report that Jim mentioned earlier, because it's just further proof that making a positive societal contribution isn't an apology for doing business, nor is it the responsibility of business, it's an opportunity for business. And that's something that at Sky we feel very strongly. For us, social and brand value aren't just perfect partners, they're soulmates. Now, I'm conscious that sharing a panel with someone whose job is to eradicate world diseases, that talking about TV and telecoms might sound slightly glib, so can bear with me, I'll be coming at it from a slightly different approach. But in our own way, Sky looks to combine societal value and commercial success. We look to create something that our customers love, that enriches their lives by opening them up to new ideas and new worlds, and also to each other, and sometimes, yes, just giving them a bit of a laugh, which we all need. So from the first 24-hour news service to dedicated sports and arts channels, committing to investing £600 million a year in UK-originated content like comedy and drama, and innovating so you can watch what you want when you want. So I'll stop the salesman pitch here. Yes, I am on commission. It's not just what we do, of course, it's how we do it. So we look to embed responsible business at all levels. So that includes embedding accessibility and environmental plans within business cases right at the beginning as our products and services and content develop. It includes focusing on other issues that are material to our business, like child safety, which is something that we're looking at very closely at the moment. But also, because we're in 10.8 million homes, we think we've got a real opportunity to reach out and inspire people to make a difference themselves, to their own lives, but also to wider society. So let me give you a couple of examples on that. First of all, cycling. We've got a strong belief that sport can really improve lives. It's right at the heart of what we do at Sky. We've invested to date over £15 billion in bringing sports to the UK. Now, that £15 billion, of course, has improved the broadcasting of sport, which wasn't hard from where it started when we launched, but it's also indirectly really supported the investment and improvement in infrastructure, in elite performance, but also grassroots participation. A few years ago, we decided we wanted to do more. We wanted to take what we had to date and continue growing that, but also take one sport and really supercharge that to show what we could do if we focused that investment over and above our day-to-day work. So in 2008, we partnered with British Cycling to do just that, and we supported the elite sport across the piece. We also, with Dave Brailsford, launched something called Team Sky, which is a professional road racing team. And we, across the years, have held thousands of mass participation cycling events, including events for tens of thousands of people that literally close down city centres. By the way, there are loads across the summer, so make sure you take part. Everyone thought we were completely mad when we went out with our targets for this, which was to get 1 million more people cycling regularly, so that's at least 12 times a year, and to win the Tour de France with a British rider in the next 5 years. It's an approach that we call inspiration to participation, and we met both those targets a year early, as you probably know, last year. And that's one of our mass participation events. I also wanted to talk about another initiative that we've got in sport, which is called Sky Sports Living for Sport. And here's our particularly lovely new ambassador, David Beckham, who helps to support that programme. Sky Sports Living for Sport is something that we're particularly passionate about. We've been delivering it for 10 years now. It uses a team of 75 athlete mentors who are all professional athletes and stars within their own field and in their own right. And it puts them into a third of schools, or 1,500 schools, each year. This year we will have worked directly with 30,000 children through this scheme, hand in hand with teachers. That's just in the UK. We've just launched in Ireland and aim to get to a third of schools there by the summer of 2016. We've taken the learnings from Living for Sport and we've built them into a new scheme that we launched last year called Sky Skills Studios, where 10,000 children a year come into our state-of-the-art and, as you would expect, highly sustainable broadcasting studios in West London. And as well as a tour of the studios, they get to go into a bespoke set of 4 studios and make their own news report. And they do everything themselves, from presenting to filming to editing. And it's something that's delivering really great experiences for the kids, but importantly, great impacts. And these schemes offer very different experiences, but both for the same purpose: to enable young people to increase their confidence and self-belief and access 5 specific life skills that we've worked with teachers to identify as the keys to later success. That's creativity, communication, problem-solving, self-management, and teamwork. So these schemes are all about marrying social value and brand benefit. To ensure that they deliver both, we've developed measurement tools with independent research companies to help us gauge their progress, both in terms of impact and input, and to help us judge progress and evolve our approach along the way. As an example, for Sky Sports Living for Sport, we carry out an independent annual quantitative survey with hundreds of participating teachers and students, supported by qualitative sessions. From our last survey, for example, over 90% of lead teachers reported improvements in self-confidence and in attitudes to learning in the students that take part. And we're also now, we've just started to go back year on year, so we can check in with lead teachers on the longevity of the results that they find through the scheme. Separately, we also undertake research to understand the benefit back to the brand. Slightly differently from the previous speaker, we think it's pretty important kind of for us to land and understand the benefit that we get back to the business, although we have the same challenges around attribution and the other issues that were mentioned. So in terms of benefit back to the brand, we undertake research with employees, with consumers and with opinion formers. With consumers, as an example, we undertake an independent quarterly survey of 2,000 customers and prospects to track awareness of and favourability towards a brand as a result. And that proves very useful to us in understanding whether customers understand and appreciate what we're doing. This combination of social impact analysis and brand research has really helped to inform our approach, and inform is really the key word here. Research is not the sum we rise by, but the insight it offers is valuable as we develop and evolve our strategy. Now, we're looking at whether we can develop an approach that measures the social value of the whole company. It's something that we've got a little bit of insight into from a whole cycling sector report that we did with LSE, and something that we've looked at from an economic side for our business with a research partner last year with an economic impact report that we published. We're right at the beginning of that journey, and what we know so far is that we don't know the answer. It's very tough, and I think I'm really looking forward to hearing both from other panellists but also from people in the room about how the kind of approaches that you are developing in terms of looking at social impact as a whole business. And I'm really pleased that Jim has created an opportunity for us to discuss that here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Bella. So, first of all, I know Sky is a fierce competitor in this industry, but tonight you're not really fighting fair. So Craig is just playing credible with the work he's doing. I brought Puff Daddy, but you got Wiggo and David Beckham up there. So fair enough. And you've won a Tour de France, so well done. But I think. So something that you said right at the end, and I want Craig to come in on this too, but something you said right at the end about how you look at attribution and you developing the tools and the research. And gosh, I wish that every marketing director in the world could hear your, or at least ingest your phrase that research is not the sun rises and falls on us. You know, if people were developing their communication programs with that in mind to inform what they're doing, that was really seized upon that. So, you know, obviously here we're in a collaborative crowdsourcing event, and we're talking about sort of learning from each other and getting the right tools to help unlock more of this good stuff. But knowing how Sky is, and just take us inside Sky Towers here for a second and understand, you know, how do you treat this research? Is it something that is released out into the world? Are these tools that you share with others, either in your industry or cross-sector? How do you think about collaboration in this idea? Or is it sort of in that highly competitive space that the rest of your marketing and customer acquisition might be?
Yeah, it's a great question. In terms of kind of attribution as a challenge, I think we would claim effects, but not necessarily all impacts. So we're looking to use resource to help us understand the effects of the work that we're doing in the social impact space, with the recognition that we won't necessarily be able to claim all impacts. In terms of how we use the research, that depends on the type of research we're looking at. So the brand tracker that I mentioned, for example, and the social impact work that we do to date, we've kept in-house. Other pieces of work are highly collaborative. So the cycling report that I mentioned, we did hand in hand with British Cycling, and we used LSE as a partner, and we worked with the entire of the sector in order to map out the benefits that cycling in its entirety brings, particularly to the UK economy, but through social benefits such as health improvements that cyclists gain, reducing absenteeism to work, for example. We work with a whole range of partners, as you would need to do to create that kind of sector benefit. And I think our view is that as we move forward, we will need to be more open and more transparent in the way that we use research, because we're not going to fix this by ourselves.
Fantastic.
Just playing off of that, we won't fix it by ourselves. I think we come at it with the same approach. Don't get me wrong, we do our best to measure our contribution. And really what we believe is that partnership is key to the overall pie, to what we're all trying to do. And so the way you'll see us approach it is certainly in partnership, and so that's not just outside our industry, it's trying to make sure the entire industry looks at it in the same way. And so a lot of the things that we're trying to do are sometimes predictive in nature to estimate what we're giving in terms of social value. And then we do our best retrospectively to take a look at what our contribution was and then the overall impact on that society.
Great. Now, Bella, back at Sky headquarters again. So, you know, we often kind of have this idea that, particularly in the UK, and the research backs this up, there's so much emphasis, and particularly with the Olympics coming last year, and certainly the success in the Tour de France, that sport facilities and opportunities are well funded. You know, the sports councils, and you know, it's more about the participation. And that's what your program tends to do, is get people in and trying to understand these facilities are there. And also about the mentors that are there to catch people when they're ready to participate. How does Sky take a view in its medium and long term? You know, this isn't something that you dip in and out of. You know, how long does a kind of the headline sort of sponsorship of the Sky team and the Tour de France work? How long does the mass participation days? How do you think about it in a longitudinal way?
So we have kind of long-term commitments to British cycling, which are in place for the next few years. However, I think what I'll probably say is that while we're committed to cycling, for example, through our partnership with British Cycling at the moment, the key things are that we're aiming to kind of drive involvement, inspire people to get involved in society. And it may be that we do that through cycling, or maybe in the future there's another opportunity we feel is better placed, and we wouldn't want to be constrained within space. So that's not necessarily relevant to the British cycling question. But as a whole, we continue to kind of evolve our approach. So, for example, on the environment, we've spent quite a lot of time, and Feeble is in the room over here, developing a really challenging set of environmental targets, which we've hit, and we've pushed ourselves on again with the new set, which again Fee has developed. And we spent quite a few years developing that approach and talking to people about what we were doing behind the scenes. Having done that and got that embedded, we recognised that we had an opportunity to reach out to consumers, and we've launched a massive campaign with WWF 4 years ago to help save 1 billion trees in the rainforest. So if we'd decided right back in 2005, for instance, that the environment and behind the scenes was going to be our focus, first of all, we wouldn't have done Sky Rainforest Rescue, but secondly, we wouldn't have done cycling at all. So having an open approach as our business strategy moves forward and evolves, but also as the kind of social issues that are affecting the business move forward and are material to the business, allows us to kind of evolve our approach.
Great, fantastic. I think we want to get more into that, but for now we need to complete our couch.